2 of 2021. Consistency, baby.
We're doing it. Okay. Yes, exactly. And so what's today's topic, Gloria?
So today we're going to talk about skin barrier function.
Yeah, remember last episode we said antioxidants and anti-pollution.
We lied! But we did not lie about consistency. So here, you know what? Good enough.
Yep, good enough.
We figure with COVID still raging on, people staying inside, pollution probably isn't as big of a problem on everyone's mind right now.
Depressingly true.
Yeah, so we'll save it for when the world gets back to normal, then we're back on the pollution train.
Yep. But first, before we kick off today's episode, what are we drinking today, Gloria?
Ooh. So I found this brand called Brooks Dry Cider at Trader Joe's. I'm not gonna lie, I 100% bought it because their thing is a bear riding a bike.
Approved. Today's theme is all about bears and your barrier function. Haha, see what I did there?
You know what? That should have been my fun animal fact, but it's so not about bears.
Yeah, and to celebrate our bear theme, I'm also wearing my bear crew neck sweater.
My bear shirt is in the washer, but I am
it says
with you in spirit.
Barely functional.
Too accurate.
Yeah, really too accurate. All right, so with that out of the way, we'll start off with some brand updates.
Yeah, so for those of you who missed our announcements, we wrote a book during COVID.
Woo-hoo!
It's our COVID baby.
The only COVID baby.
Oh, thank God. Oh boy.
Your ovaries quiver a little bit.
Just shuddered. But yes, search for Skincare Decoded on Amazon. Yeah. You can pre-order now. It's due to be out March 23rd.
Which is actually really soon.
Yeah, so
can't believe it.
Yeah, look for our Instagram. We'll be sharing content preview. We're supposed to get a physical copy soon, so we'll definitely be sharing more about that in the coming months. So yep, that's the book. The next update we have, it's not really an update, we've been doing it for some time, but in case you missed it, we have this special product on our website called Chemists Recommended.
Yeah, and we're really happy about this just because it's the idea behind Chemists Recommended is you get to purchase a mystery product and you basically get sent a quiz where you tell us about your skincare routine, your history, what your skin type is like. You basically just send us your skincare diary.
Yes.
And we, really, the two of us, we sit there, we go through these quizzes, and we see if there's actually a product in our Chemist Confessions portfolio that we can recommend. And even better is we actually get to even kind of pick apart your routine, see if there's anything more we can suggest, whether it's a better sunscreen fit or, you know, a vitamin C product you might be struggling with. Just give you some tips and tricks as well. And we really enjoy it because we get to learn about other people's routines and the way they're troubleshooting and really see if our products can actually be an actual solution for you guys. And it's really gratifying for us.
Yeah.
I actually learned so much.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say we see a lot of products that we wouldn't otherwise notice, and sometimes we see a brand that we don't know about before, and it's kind of cool. And other times it's just we get asked a lot of questions on Instagram, and I think this way it also helps us kind of finesse the process of how to just hone in on the problem with someone's routine and give better suggestions all around.
I have to say it's probably not the most efficient process.
Nope.
Yeah, because we literally have to sit there and comb through, you know, these routines, but I just at this point I don't really know any other way. There's all sorts of there's all sorts of apps and quizzes and you know, websites that you can go to, but without actually like really combing through the formulas, understanding your skin type, and
people are layering different types of products from different brands together. So that's why it's a limited edition product. Every month we try to cap it at like 30 or 40 depending on how busy we are. And it's been a lot of fun.
So look forward to that again soon. All right. So the meat.
Oh, are we at the meat already?
Oh, the news. My bad.
Sorry, I want to skip over the news, but we have the news first.
Yeah, so latest updates.
Yeah, so last episode we mentioned that 2021's trend, according to Allure, I think, is all about celebrity brands, or that's one of the trends.
Oh, baby.
So speaking of celebrity lines, I think J.Lo recently launched her products.
Yo, if she does a butt sheet mask, I think that would be the best, wonderful thing that I would totally buy. Yeah.
If she does a butt workout to go with a butt mask, I will subscribe.
Yes, she's awesome. Anyways, all right, so she just launched her products.
Yeah, so it's a lean line of some moisturizers, serums, and it seems like the crown jewel is this mask that costs $18 a pop.
$18 a sheet mask.
That's sheet mask.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
So what's in this sheet mask?
So I actually copy and pasted the ingredient list. So we'll do a quick decode.il.
All right.
In the sheet mask, you have water. I just realized reading off ingredient list on the podcast is really boring, but I'm gonna do my best. In the third ingredient, you have galactomyces ferment filtrate. This is actually the star ingredient that used to be proprietary to the SK2 product.
SK2. Sorry.
Oh, hold up. I'm SK2. We have, what's interesting is it has squalane as a fourth ingredient.
Yeah.
What I mean by interesting is that most sheet masks are exclusively water-based formulas. Squalane is more oil-based. So that's kind of unique to this mask. It also has other good ingredients like niacinamide, which is a superstar ingredient, alpha-glucan oligosaccharides, which sounds like a mouthful, but really it's just a hydrating ingredient.
Wow, lots of oils.
Yeah, and she did not miss out on cannabis sativa seed oil, which is a great lightweight oil that does not contain any sort of CBD content.
Hemp. It's hemp.
Okay. And that's the top chunk of it, and that will make up the bulk of this formula. So what do you think of this formula, Victoria? Is it worth $18 a sheet mask?
I will not be paying for this sheet mask.
But if J.Lo wants to send it to us for free, including a hug, I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay, if you really want to get some galactomyces, I'm pretty sure you can look at CosRx. They've got kind of a dupe of SK2. To be fair, if you're asking, but is it the same exact ingredient? It's probably not. SK2 probably has done
their own sourcing, their own
research, their own synthesizing to give it some special benefits. But at the end of the day, before even shelling out that kind of money, you can definitely check out CosRx first, just to even make sure your skin likes it.
Yeah, and we always say that sheet mask is, the point of a sheet mask is to super soak your face in moisture. It's a pampering thing for sure. We wouldn't look to sheet mask to address like serious correction type of benefits, such as acne, fine lines, pigmentation. So then, like, what is really costing $18 a pamper sesh? I don't really know.
I mean, to be fair, Skinceuticals has their Biocellulose.
I do love that mask. It's $20 for water.
Pure water, but it's the material. Haven't checked this one out, so can't speak to the material, but I don't really know. I don't think it would be my first impulse buy, that's for sure. Right.
On the other hand, if it's the best pampering sesh you ever had, $18, like,
I also noticed it's got like tin oxide, mica.
So those will be your more tinted raw materials that you find in makeup.
Yeah, so it's possible that, once the kind of material dries, it's got this really nice sheen and after effects, so might be great as just like a good pamper me moment before a big night at home with COVID. Sorry.
I will say, as far as celebrity lines go, I know they're all selling kind of a, ooh, you can look like me if like you do this, which is eyebrow raising worthy. But for J.Lo, I will lower that eyebrow and maybe I'll give it a go.
For sure. All right. Next. There is a new app out.
there's a lot of apps that came out in the past decade, I want to say, all about analyzing ingredient lists, ones that can take a picture of the IL and help you analyze it. This new one is called Picky.
And Picky, how is it different from the other ones going on?
I think Picky, rather than just analyzing ingredient lists, it's more recommendation based. Okay. So I actually just downloaded it on my phone to see.
And I believe you actually can fill out a questionnaire of sorts about your skin.
So when you start, you said when you download the app, it starts with like a little questionnaire. And you answer 14 questions, like in photographs, your face appears shiny, your face flushes easily, so on and so forth, and they'll build you a profile. Now, I don't know how good a 14 question long questionnaire is in terms of really understanding someone's skin, but I think it's kind of neat that they're combining this whole like identifying skin type, linking it to product recommendations.
For sure. I will say I like how we kind of did this spiel about Chemists Recommended, and then now are introducing
there's an app.
We just were saying like sometimes with data science and forms and algorithms doesn't always come out right, and then we're like Chemists Recommended.
By the way, there's a Picky app.
But yeah, I agree. The platform is actually really cool. It's designed really well. So definitely kind of a good, I would say, support tool if you're looking for new product discovery. But just know that it's still possible that you might find a product that doesn't work for you. The thing is with ingredients, as much as they try to, use statistics to show trends, skincare is so personal that you might find that there's actually an ingredient, even within the oily skin category or the dry skin, that doesn't work for you, and that's reality.
Yeah, and I will say something that I definitely personally realized doing Chemist Confessions is that just try to enjoy this process. It's supposed to be more of a marathon. I think a lot of people are chasing that holy grail, like a final destination type of thing. Right. But skin will always change. So I think it's just a process of kind of understanding your skin quirks more and how it changes.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. And finally, there is a new launch.
Yeah, so there's a brand called Nutricentials. It is all about adaptogens. They call it BioAdaptive Skincare.
And how do you feel about adaptogens?
Damn it, I was going to throw that question to you.
I knew it was coming. I got to point it out. How do you feel?
So adaptogens is... Adaptogens is a trend
term.
Yeah, and that's it. The end. It's a trendy word. It kind of stems from kind of healthy eating, diet trends. In terms of topical adaptogens, a lot of the focus is on anti-inflammation and soothing properties, which there's nothing wrong with that.
It's a good category. True.
It's a good category, but then the word adaptogen doesn't really mean that much topically. It means nothing topically.
Yeah, I think it originally started with mushrooms.
Shrooms?
Right? And then...
Not that type of shrooms.
Yeah, and then it stemmed into plants that... ultimately, they can survive and thrive in harsher climates, and basically the metabolic process that goes into all of that.
So Victoria and I get these brochures that's about we really like to make fun of the really absurd origin stories of raw materials, like these snow mushrooms come to maturation once a decade, and it's on this cliff that needs one Tibetan guy to hike the mountain and pick it by hand.
I know it sounds really exaggerated, but it's kind of close to that. And, the idea is that if you use this molecule that, the plants essentially use, for them to thrive in harsh climates, that should be good for skin. yeah, there's actually no data that really correlates that to helping cell function, your skin cell function. So ultimately, yeah, just chalk it up to possibly being a soother.
Yeah. So I guess what, in summary, is for products that claim adaptogens, it might not hurt to try the product. But if you're trying to, again, actively correct some problems like age prevention, wrinkles, pigmentations, those will not be your heavy lifting stuff. I think of them as a support, kind of a ritual category.
Yeah, and I think looking at the brand, what they seem to do also is just be a little more pH conscious. I think just within, there was like an L review done, she talks about how like it's possible she, her skin's kind of sensitive and, was using this routine and found good results. And, ultimately, if you have a good moisturizer, that covers your bases, keeps it hydrating, also, may even help her with a lower pH, then great. That's all possible reasons why she might be having good results outside of being an adaptogen moisturizer.
Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully that provides some clarity on the trend.
Sorry for shitting on it.
Yeah, so anyways, who knows? Maybe there will be a clinical that will surprise us. Maybe.
Yeah, so far there's none.
The sad thing is there's no reason for that because people buy into the trend. So then there's like, I don't need to throw money into the research.
I think this is why I can at least be more positive about the CBD trend. It's because it's taking off, but it also comes with a lot of research and ongoing clinicals. We're still waiting for the results, but we know it's being done.
Yeah.
Versus, like Victoria said, trends that people buy into regardless of there's data or not. So then a decade later, we're still looking at the same set of non data.
Actually, a theory just popped into my head.
Oh, go on.
I believe that trends that stem from nutrition don't end up being studied as well as they should be.
Actually, that's a really good point.
Right? Because, like, with CBD, like, pharmaceuticals, they're looking at that right now. So there is this, like, kind of, like, more science-based awareness, I hate to say it, versus, like, nutrition, where a lot of it can come from diet, fitness, and whatnot, and the science just isn't always there. And, like, I just feel like maybe
actually,
that's why.
That's such a good point. And I think, like, the path to making CBD more mainstream, there's already so much work that went into it.
Right.
And you're right, there's like pharma applications, so they have to look into more seriously. And it was a regulated substance before. And then you have nutraceuticals, which is anything goes. There's zero regulations whatsoever.
Think about blueberries. They were a trend in skincare for a little bit, and
acai.
And they thought it was an antioxidant, but it's just that's not how that translates, and you still need the right testing to know if those molecules work. Anyways, like my tinfoil hat formed, and that's my crazy theory of the day.
Nothing wrong with enjoying it, but just know that there probably won't be your skincare heavy lifters.
Right, exactly. It's all about just, managing your expectations, right? Yeah.
All right, now we're ready for the meat.
Now the meat. Yes.
The meat.
All right, so
the meat. Okay.
Sorry, RB. Again. So sorry. All right. So today's subject is about skin barrier.
Hi, Victoria. What is your skin barrier function?
So honestly, it's just regular, healthy, normal skin cells functioning with good cell turnover. You have a healthy barrier that protects your insides from the outsides, regularly hydrated. Those are all general, like, just general things you want to hit in healthy skin barrier function.
Yeah, and something to keep in mind is if you want to know the why behind a lot of skin barrier care, you have to know the composition of your general skin barrier.
Correct.
So the outermost layer of skin is incredibly fatty because the point is to repel water and keep the hydration in. So the outermost layer has three main lipids. So you have your ceramides, fatty acids, and cholesterol.
Yeah, and I will say, you think of the outer layer being your stratum corneum with all of your essentially dead skin cells.
Very
And the lipids, these are all kind of like the mortar in between the bricks. So your lipid, they call them the lipid matrix. And that's where you'll find the ceramides, fatty acid, cholesterol.
Yeah, so that's why you will hear, if you've ever Googled about that stuff, if you've ever been on Reddit skincare addiction, this is where the great ratio debate comes from. The ratio of ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids. The reason being... okay, spoiler alert. The reason being your ceramide level decreases as you age. Now, ceramide isn't a single ingredient. It's a whole family of ingredients. So, long story short, you have the long ones that kind of are the anchor pieces in this lipid matrix. And you have the short ones that's they're short. So...
Yeah,
that was really cool. Yeah,
good science explanation.
But regardless of their size, as you age, they kind of decrease in concentration.
And no surprise there. Along with collagen, hyaluronic acid,
all the good things, that you in your 20s enjoy. So that's why there's a theory out there of what ratio of cholesterol, fatty acid, and ceramide, fatty acid, and cholesterol you need in your topical product to kind of replenish that loss.
Yeah.
But at
the end of the day, the reality of science is that not everyone agrees. You know? And so if you go down that rabbit hole, you'll find papers that talk about, a specific ratio and then others that conflict. And that's just the reality of it. And I guarantee you there's just not enough data to really substantiate one over the other.
Right. There's the famed 311. The one that we like to talk about sometimes is the Skinceuticals triple lipid 242. Because while it goes again, the 311 is a more mainstream theory, right? But the 242, this particular formula has done a really good clinical testing and has really good data. So we always say good clinical kind of overrides a lot of these theories.
Exactly. Yeah. Really, and it should make sense, right? Ultimately, if you can paint the realistic picture and you can test it, that will ultimately trump like the science and honestly all of the academic research, the behind the scenes research of that. So yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to try a product that has a blend of ceramide, cholesterol, and fatty acid, there's two ways to go about it. It can get a little pricey, but products that have been through really good clinicals, like the Skinceuticals triple lipid, or the Epions,
the Epions.
Yeah, Epions.
Yeah,
they have a cream that has that ratio of the 311, I believe.
I've actually haven't tried that one. Is that about as nourishing, like texture, feel as Skinceuticals?
It's also a pretty thick cream.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's another thing is ceramides tend to be very waxy, difficult ingredient to work with.
Yes. So just expect that if you're trying to get that kind of ratio.
Yeah, so if you have oily skin and you're a little younger and you definitely want to avoid that heavier texture, these products are probably not your favorite texture.
Yeah, agreed. And then probably as you are trolling Reddit Skincare, you will also find SK Influx. So SK Influx is actually a proprietary blend by a ingredient supplier called Evonik. They've also done their research in, the same ratio of ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids as well. Yes. And then, and we actually like this blend more because not only does it provide a nice, well-rounded blend of these, essential lipids, it incorporates better into a moisturizer and allows us to have like an easier time with texture.
Yeah, so
it's still finicky.
It is. It can destroy your product. The good thing about it is Evonic's focus is on the delivery system.
Yeah.
So as we just mentioned, ceramides can be very thick, waxy, kind of gross. It doesn't even dissolve or melt very well when you're formulating.
True.
So,
and it also hates being in a formula, so eventually it'll want to just eject itself from the formula.
Actually, that's literally what it does. I have made many products that have wax palettes at the bottom by day 3. Yeah. So Evonik package it in a way where it's already in a stable. They call it like that lamellar structure where there's some organization to it already. And they have done a lot of testing on that blend itself.
Yeah.
So my opinion is that SK Influx is a great start, like an introduction to people who want to try skin lipid focused products. If you're a little older, then maybe like the more expensive 242, like much higher concentrated products might be a better fit.
That's a really good point. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is that this is only one I guess category that's important to healthy barrier function. Ceramides is not all, although it is very helpful for like long-term healthy skin, which we'll cover in this next part, I guess.
Yeah. So we just spent 10 minutes telling you that skin is fatty, but now we're here to tell you it also has water.
just down below.
Yeah, so your skin has this water gradient. The deeper you go, the more watery it is. By the top, your skin is mostly dead and mostly fatty, but it still needs a base level of water to maintain its like turnover, general upkeep. So this is where your NMFs come in. NMFs.
And what are NMFs? Sorry.
NMFs are your natural moisturizing factors.
Yeah.
These are molecules that just grab onto skin, just like that. Mine.
Yeah. Right.
And they help maintain a base level of moisture in your otherwise fatty and water resistant skin.
So there's a couple things that attribute to dry skin. One is a more perforated barrier. It's usually what those with eczema suffer with. The allergens, they can actually make their way through the skin, causing irritation and that itchiness and inflammation that ultimately leads to dry skin. So that cascade. The other part is your loss of water. So that's why this water component part is also an incredibly essential part to a good moisturizer.
So the loss of water through skin barrier is called TEWL, TEWL, transepidermal water loss. It is incredibly boring because scientists aren't creative and fun with naming schemes.
No. It's also, for those who don't know what TEWL is, you're like TOOL. Like, what is that? Yeah, agreed.
It's TEWL.
Yeah.
TEWL. So, where were we? NMFs. So your skin naturally have these molecules. They're your lactic acid,
urea,
sodium PCA, urea. They already exist, and these ingredient names shouldn't be that foreign to you, because a lot of times their hydrating products actually replenish or add on to your NMFs.
Yeah.
So those will be your hydrating ingredients. Yeah. And to sum up, because your skin is fatty, but also needs some water, that's why moisturizers have as a combination of both watery-based components and the fatty stuff.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of emphasize that, with NMFs, why they're so important is that, they really are necessary for, just healthy cell function. Also, if you think of healthy cell turnover, all of these things do require, the proper amount of NMFs in your skin. So that's why, it's just important that, these are replenished, and why these should actually hold more weight in a moisturizer. I feel like these often get kind of forgotten, to be honest. but is an essential component.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are your skin compositions in a nutshell. So what affects skin barrier function? This is the depressing part of the talk.
Everything. Breathing.
Breathing, being alive, aging.
Yeah. Just sadly, father time. Yes, it
When
does
you
affect skin barrier.
age, collagen decreases, ceramide decreases.
Hey, this is supposed to be an uplifting, fun podcast. None of that.
The sky looks a little grayer.
Oh, God.
Aging, you often hear mature skin becomes drier, and it's absolutely true.
Photo aging too. That's why,
Yeah.
why everyone talks about sunscreen being the ultimate serum. It does contribute to that.
Pollution is another one. To be the meat in coming episodes, but pollution is a big factor on skin barrier function. As Victoria already mentioned, skin conditions that compromises skin barrier function, like eczema.
Just pure inflammation.
Yeah, or if your skin is allergic, a lot of times if you have contact dermatitis or any other form of skin condition, it tends to compromise skin barrier function, and it goes into a vicious cycle of your skin barrier is compromised, therefore you lose more water, therefore more allergens get in, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's actually, not to do a plug, but that's why we actually make that such a big, important concept in our moisturizers. It's so often forgotten, and people just don't realize that's kind of the other half of the battle in good daily skincare, is to make sure skin just stays soothed and happy. But as we mentioned last week, it looks like inflammation is now going to be a big trend for this year.
Inflammaging.
Yeah, so let's see, but yeah.
Yep, and this is a very not fun study that I found. It's not surprising, but stress can also compromise your skin barrier function.
Not surprising.
I found this a very small study. I think it's just N equals 35, but it showed that sleep deprivation can actually compromise skin barrier function. And this is why we always tell people, if you want good skin in the long run, don't do a startup.
Yeah, for real.
And don't drink too much.
No, yeah. Dehydration. Not drinking enough water, I'm sure. Basically, breathing contributes to dry skin and aging.
Yes.
Well, with that depressing note.
How do you find products that protect your skin barrier function?
Yeah, so we talked about the two categories just now. So you can look for ingredients like ceramides, like actually the lipid ratio, ceramides, fatty acids, cholesterol. You can look for NMFs as well. We also talk about, the three kind of moisturizing ingredient categories. These categories are really based on their function for skin. So you might have heard of humectants. These are your water-based molecules. Yep. Yes. That does include NMFs, but we also like to talk about things like glycerin and hyaluronic acid.
Fun fact about glycerin.
Fun fact about glycerin. You usually don't hear that because it's the Frank Red Hot. What do we call it?
The Frank Red Hot. We put that shit in everything.
Yep, the ingredient you find in every skincare product. Fun fact.
Because it works, and there's one study about it that goes kind of beyond just water grabbing. It's almost a plasticizer for skin. There was one study that shows that it kind of wedges itself in your lipid matrix, and by wedging itself in there, it kind of creates a supple field, your supple feely skin and softness, because your lipid matrix, it kind of reduces that rigidity to it. So that's why we love glycerin. It works. The downside to a lot of these humectants is that it can get very sticky and gross.
Sticky fast.
Really gross.
So why can't I just have a moisturizer with only glycerin, Gloria?
So what a great question, Victoria. And I will give you an answer.
Oh, we're so stupid.
All right. So you'll notice that in your products, especially your hydrating serums, there is a crap ton of hydrating ingredients, right? Like there's glycerin, there's urea, hyaluronic acid, yada yada yada. And we sometimes get questions that's like, why can't brands just use one, like the best hydrator, the best humectant in your product? There's a few different angles to think about that. One is concentration. Every and any ingredient out there can be irritating. In fact, even the most vanilla ingredient, if you find the safety data sheet, it will say skin irritant because you just don't use it at 100% on skin.
Yep.
So by using a blend, you can kind of capture the best of different molecules without risking irritation. So if you have a total of 20% humectants, you're not using just one molecule. So yeah, that's one factor. And the second factor...
also probably isn't going to feel great. Let's be real.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Glycerin feels gross.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too, just keep in mind, is why not just 100% glycerin? Is like, that's not... this goes into the other categories. It's just these water-based molecules alone isn't going to keep skin moisturized. Water-based molecules... they can also evaporate because they're water-based. So that's why we need these other categories, right, Gloria? Bring you in the next category.
Emollients and occlusives.
This bear drink is great.
I know, doing me wonders. So emollients are your light oils. These are the category that in some way you don't have to think that much about. So we sometimes when we give advice on our Chemists Recommended, we'll notice people's routines might be completely devoid of humectants or completely devoid of occlusives, which are heavier ingredients that seal moisture in. But emollients are pretty much in all categories of products. It's very hard to miss emollients.
Yep, agreed. And the other thing that, emollients provide is they actually can smooth the surface of skin and provide you that instant glow, especially for those who are dealing with kind of like that dry dullness that sometimes can have.
I thought you were so glowy.
I was like... Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up.
So last but not least,
yes.
occlusives.
Yeah, so occlusives are more waxy butters, things like petrolatum.
Think of these ingredients that will do your barrier function for you when it don't want to be a barrier no more.
Yeah, exactly. They also don't feel great by itself either, and they're usually like hardy substances.
Everyone knows what Vaseline feels like. A lot of butters and waxes, when they're in their raw material form, they're literally pellets, right? So you don't want to rub pellets on your skin, obviously, but that just gives you an idea of why A, you don't want to use too much of it, and B, why they're kind of hard for chemists to formulate. Because you want that occlusive benefit without the
feel.
Yeah.
Without it being an occlusive.
Yes, exactly. And that's why people like silicones.
Yeah. Oh, we're trying to open up that can of worms. Oh, we're going to just ignore this for a little bit. But
yeah, so silicones also not inclusive.
Well, one thing is, just keep in mind is, the reason why you want occlusives is to really just prevent that water and your own skin's water from evaporating out. That's why, like, when you're kind of in a pickle, let's say you're skiing or you're on a plane and you really don't have anything else, the only thing you should worry about in that point of time is just putting an occlusive on to really just stave off that dry patch that's about to pop up. So
if you've ever seen a petite Asian woman on a plane with a very, very shiny face that looks
Get off the plane.
She's dunked her whole face in Vaseline, I think that's me.
You know what's funny is I one time when I was traveling with my mom, I looked over and she had put Vaseline like all just around her eye area, and just like with the airplane light, you just see like a glistening panda. I'm like, Mom,
it works though.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So that should paint you a decent picture of what to look for in more of like a well-rounded moisturizer. I think I'll be honest, like looking for a moisturizer with more occlusives is probably a little harder to find. you're gonna have to look for something with probably a little more silicones, to be honest. You might see beeswax, things like that.
I hate beeswax.
Yeah, why?
I just never felt good texture with beeswax moisturizers. Or it's not enough. Like, so...
Is it like the drag or...
So the melting point of beeswax is really high, right? So first of all, in a cream, they wouldn't use that much of a percentage.
Yeah.
So to me, I have really dry skin, so it's not quite moisturizing enough.
Right.
If it's at a higher percentage, then it gets really gross. And also, as a chemist, if you melt at 90 degrees, I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah, and then when you cool it down, it does weird things.
It crystallizes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. We do like brands that, or not brands, but raw material suppliers that modify the beeswax. It's easier to work with. But anyway,
they're thinking for the chemist. Not the customer, the chemist.
Not you, for us.
Yeah, so, all right, cool. So you're looking for a well-rounded assortment of ingredients. Another ingredient we haven't really mentioned, but is really great for skin barrier, is actually niacinamide.
That crap, that is also in everything. I shouldn't say crap, it's a great ingredient.
Yeah.
It's one of those interesting ingredients where you will see it's like a chameleon, right? Because it does like everything. It's the jack of all trades of skincare. You'll find it in brightening serums. You will see it alongside your retinol. You will see it in the ordinary. You will see it from 2 to like 85%.
Really 30, but that feels like 85.
Yeah. So one of the best things about niacinamide is so other top ingredients like your glycolic acids, your retinol, they can be a little irritating, and you'll hear us like go on and on about how to walk that tight line between effective and irritation. Niacinamide actually increases and improves your barrier function over time.
True.
But the reason why we were rolling our eyes and rolling our eyes at the 85% is that it's just so easy to work with that it's in everything now at absurd percentages.
Yeah, and just for a healthy skin barrier, you actually need 2%. That's it.
Yeah, niacinamide is effective from 2 to 5%.
Yeah.
And most serums are starting at 10%.
I have another theory.
Oh, okay, go on. Tinfoil hat on.
All right, my next theory, this is about niacinamide. Why there's an absurd amount of niacinamide is because people are so used to AHAs, vitamin C, retinol, these things all like feeling something.
Yeah.
But the thing is, niacinamide is working when skin doesn't seem to do anything.
You are not supposed to shed on niacinamide.
Yeah, and so I think that's why, people are either expecting the same level of concentration as an AHA, or they think that, you're supposed to feel something. Like, it's not actually how niacinamide is working. That's the beauty of that ingredient, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's such a good point. Okay, niacinamide, especially niacinamide, should not hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very vanilla ingredient. That's
actual comment we got.
Yeah.
So that's how we know this industry has gone too far with the niacinamide train.
Yeah. So we wrote a post a while ago about how just give all your ingredient lists a read and just be sure you're not doing something that's like. You might find 6% niacinamide in your sunscreen, 8% in your serum, 18% in your cream. Yeah. And next thing you know, you're layering way too much. Yeah. There's just too much of a good thing.
For sure.
Just remember, it's effective at 2 to 5%.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that we need to think about in finding a good skin barrier helper moisturizer?
I hate this topic. But pH.
Next.
So the reason why I hate this topic is because I think people, especially in the skincare conscious community, are kind of go nuts with skin pH. They're very skin pH obsessed, and I think it's good to be very mindful of it, but it's not the end all be all. So to that end, your skin is naturally at a lower pH, between 5 and 6. Fun fact, your dog has a higher pH than you.
So don't put your face wash on your dog thinking that that's more gentle.
Yeah, your dog don't like it. But yeah, there's definitely science behind it, especially when you have certain skin conditions like eczema, which is sometimes linked to a higher than usual skin pH. Lower skin pH can help. So lower pH products like a low pH skin cream or even a face wash can help. But if you have normal skin pH does self-calibrate, so it's not the end all be all. It's just like a little piece of the puzzle.
Right, exactly. And then I think the next topic for moisturizer is just microbiome. Another can of worms, but ultimately it is a growing field. We know that a healthy microbiome is linked to healthy skin and vice versa. So what does that mean for your skincare? You know, the funny thing is if you cover the other like topics that we talked about and finding a good moisturizer, you're ultimately set up for success.
Yes.
But, you know, more data is going to come out to, you know, let us know if there's actual ingredients that do promote a healthy microbiome. But yeah, so if you're ever wondering about your skin flora.
This is my personal opinion, so don't come at me with a pitchfork. But
I'm ready. Sorry.
Microbiome greater than adaptogens any day.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I will support.
So there is science behind microbiome.
A lot.
Yeah,
There's
a lot. It's in terms of products though, it's really difficult because everyone's microbiome is unique. So when a product says promote healthy microbiome, what does that really mean? That part's a little bit more of a mystery. But like Victoria said, like
maybe George Clooney will like share his flora and then turn it into a microbiome line. That would be hilarious.
Ew,
I gift thee my flora.
To be so hot that you're like, swap me and then make millions.
It's genius.
George Clooney calls.
Yeah, so anyways, that's explains why, you know, it's microbiome is really complicated and yeah.
Anyway, so it's time.
Is it time?
It's time to break it up.
It's time to break it up.
Woo, it's animal corn time.
If you're wondering how this jingle came about, it's because we were too poor to pay someone to do a jingle for this corner. So it ended up with a lot of me and Gloria just trying to sing in a very cringing way. So I apologize for that moment.
And by the way, when we first started the podcast, it was incredibly awkward for us to talk into a microphone. And that's why we have a tradition of drinking while recording. And this jingle is definitely fueled by one too many trashy cocktails. By trashy cocktails, it's basically whatever liquor we find with whatever leftover we found, which is usually Gatorade and or...
Capri Sun was the best one.
Oh, Capri Sun was good. Capri Sun and bourbon. You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So if you're just joining us, Animal Corner is a selfish topic for us. It's just we like to show and tell different funny, weird animals that we find. So last week it was about the puss caterpillar, which is a funny looking. It kind of looks like nigiri, just like fuzzy nigiri.
Nigiri says Donald Trump hair.
Yes, Donald Trump hair. Look it up. It's poisonous. Don't go near it. Yeah. Anyway, so it's Gloria's turn to share, and I don't really know what this is about, actually.
You know, guys, I promise you next week, actually, maybe next week is Victoria's turn, so I can't promise on her behalf. But I will say once my turn again, I will go back to the cute and cuddly, but not this week.
What is this week?
This week, we're back to an insect.
Oh.
It's a lot less fun than...
No. That fly was wonderful.
Oh yeah, I did a hang fly thing where the male have to give the female a big enough bug, because if the female finishes eating before he's done reproducing, then she will eat him too.
Better be a big enough burger.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Anyway, so today's bug is the... I don't know why I always find the insect ones, but there are some real freaky shit that goes on in the insect world. Today is a bug called the Isis coleoprotus. I did not take Latin in high school, so I'm going to call it the Isis bug. So
it's already sounding bad.
So this bug, it looks kind of like a leaf. Okay. It's kind of cute, a little round bug. Okay. What's really cool about it is it's one of the only natural or like one of those weird cases in nature where they have a little gear that looks like a man-made gear. Okay. So the back of its legs actually lock together, kind of like spokes of wheel. Oh. The reason being, when insects jump, they need their legs to be completely in sync to go straight. So otherwise, sometimes they will just go off course just a little bit, and it's a little unpredictable. Okay. So this insect actually have gear to lock into each other, so it jumps completely straight. Oh. And the reason why I chose this bug is I found out that it actually only the little gear only exists in its infant form. So after it matures, it eventually sheds the gear. In my mind, I'm like, you know,
trike. It's like a tricycle?
Yeah, exactly. It's like training wheels for the bug. But also, my fiance recently started taking glucosamine. So, in my mind, I'm like, oh no, he shed his, like, cartilage. The training wheels are off, and it's all pain now.
Oh, that just got really depressing, and R.I.P. I'm sorry, Chris. I didn't know she was going to talk about this. I was thinking training wheels. She went there.
That's really cute. I just realized, I was like, oh man, mid-30s, like, pain is real.
Also, I want to know what happens when they accidentally, like, lose a gear.
So that's part of the theory, is that they do lose gear over time, so they just only jump at a 30-degree angle.
Oh no. Okay, and do they jump to, like, avoid, like, predators? Or?
Yeah, so what's really funny when I was doing research is, first of all, they jump really far because of it, but they don't fly. So all they got is the jump. But then two is for, I found this study where they were, like, playing around with the gear to see how it works. So the scientists actually found a dead Isis, and they like, maneuver the gear, lock it together, and then like shock the dead bug to see how the gear affects the jump trajectory and stuff.
PETA, if bugs are on your thing, don't listen to
Sorry.
this. My goodness. Okay, so then what happened?
So with the gear
going different directions?
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel bad for laughing, but I do feel bad for the undergrad that has to catch these bugs and wait for it to die.
That is fascinating.
And then manually put the gears together to jump.
You know, I gotta be honest, as we get older, I feel like I've become more clumsy. Probably need a gear or two.
Oh my god!
Fall down the stairs at some point.
Shoe idea. Shoes with gear.
Ooh, I like this. Yeah, awesome. Yay.
Yeah. So the Isis doesn't have any weird mating rituals. So sorry, fam.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I will
Every
go back.
once in a while, it's nice to not talk about the mating ritual.
Yeah, they get really weird, especially in the insect world.
Look up banana slug.
Banana slugs are freaky, man.
It's like, it's beyond R-rated. Yeah. It's not right.
We thought about talking about it on this podcast, and we were like, oh,
a little too graphic. Even for us, it was too graphic. All right.
Anyway, that's a yellow corner.
Yay, Isis bug and its gears.
It's ISS-US.
Oh, good.
Not the ISIS kind.
Yeah. All right, and last but not least, Q&A corner.
Yep. So we get lots of great questions from you guys. So if you guys are ever, you want your questions to be featured on the podcast, let us know, and write to us or DM us. We'll try to get to it. So
we really do get to it.
Yeah, we do eventually. I'm sorry, guys. So first question today. Thanks for the great content. That's the only reason why I feature you. I'm just kidding.
It does feel nice.
Is it safe to use niacinamide and then retinol and then hyaluronic acid?
That's it. You're
so,
good to go.
Actually, fun fact, speaking of niacinamide, there are actually studies that show retinol by itself is more irritating than a retinol plus niacinamide combination. So yeah, that is a great combination. Hyaluronic acid is incredibly vanilla. It will go with pretty much everything and anything you can think of. So yeah, that combo totally goes.
I think the only thing that you might like one minor caveat is the low molecular weight hyaluronic acid.
Yes.
If you're paying for specifically like low molecular weight HA serums, just do a spot treat, honestly. You never know, and the data isn't there's no consensus on it, but there is an idea that, you know, it truly does penetrate and can cause some irritation depending on the blend.
Oh, and I want to add that I'm someone who's not very retinol tolerant. So I always say that if you are serious about doing a retinol-centric routine, make sure that retinol is the focus of your routine. What I mean by that is I'm usually very acid tolerant, but I find that when I'm on retinol, glycolic acid is a little too much for me.
Yeah.
So if I'm on retinol, then I center my routine and I choose actives so that it doesn't irritate my retinol skin.
That's a great point. I think saves a lot of people from some troubleshooting.
Yeah.
All right.
Next.
Question 2. What if vitamin C serums irritate your skin, cause reactions when used? What are some good alternative antioxidants? Yeah. We actually get this question a lot. So first things first is, if you can, try to dial down. Nowadays, you get anything between
25.
15 to 25. You really don't need 25. No. I mean, 15, 20 is fine, but you can even cause breakouts. So try looking for a 5 to 10% vitamin C. We actually just did a post on a this versus that of a 10% to kind of help you decide. And if that doesn't work, antioxidant wise, you've got a few, though know that the data doesn't really hold up in comparison to vitamin C. I shouldn't say hold up. I should say it just hasn't been
as good.
Yeah, done as much studies on it. But things like lipoic acid. What else we got?
Even, green tea has a shot. I was shocked because I always had this impression of it as a kind of a foo-foo trendy ingredient, but it has decent data for oily skin. So on top of being an antioxidant.
I think also the tough thing is, like, it's really hard to know what's the good green tea extract and not just like
such a good
brewed
point.
from my tea bag kind of thing.
Yeah. You don't have to put tea bag on your eye.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. That's a good one. What else?
Resveratrol?
Yes.
But I do recommend going for ones like Skinceuticals that have resveratrol concentration, because that's that's the antioxidant from grape skin and whatnot.
Drink wine.
Actually, you know what? Never mind. Drink wine, guys.
No, I'm kidding. Resveratrol is actually, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think other than that, if you're looking more on the pigmentation side, there's other vitamin C derivatives as well.
Yeah, so in terms of vitamin C derivatives, we always point people to MAP, SAP. Those are magnesium and sodium ascorbyl phosphates, and also ascorbyl glucoside. The glucoside form is actually considered a quasi-drug in Japan for its really awesome data on skin brightening. So while they're not as proven in terms of like age prevention, antioxidant benefits, those derivatives are really great depending on your skin type.
True. All right, last but not least, adapalene and azelaic acid, substitute or combine. Does your skin get used to actives or routines, making them less effective over time?
That was totally two questions that I accidentally put on the same line.
Yeah.
But go first.
It works. So first things first, adapalene azelaic, actually a great combo. Azelaic is relatively vanilla on the irritation aspect, but just remember that you never want to use two products together at the same time. Like, start on two products, just introduce them one at a time in the routine so you can keep track of how skin's reacting to them.
Introduce your actives like how you would introduce two cats. Have them sniff each other out first. Take some time.
Yes, that's a great analogy.
And
see that in Instagram post.
When the hissing stops is when it's okay.
Yep, exactly. So, other than that, Does your
Oh, sorry. On the azelaic acid, I want to add one more note. From a chemist angle, azelaic acid is really annoying to work with. It's not very soluble, and so that's why a lot of azelaic formulas you'll see are a little thicker, creamier. Some can get even a little bit gritty. Yeah. So just note that when you're layering azelaic acid, if you're trying to combine them in the same routine, and you're starting to notice pilling, that means it's not necessarily azelaic acid isn't compatible with adapalene. It might be the formulas themselves don't play very well together.
And actually, pilling isn't a good sign. So do try to keep these, just separate out to a day and night routine. All right, cool. And the other part of the question, does your skin get used to actives or routines, making them less effective over time? Yes, your skin does get used to actives, but not in a bad way. It's more like adjusting in terms of managing irritation. That's why people build up their retinol routines to increase the percentages. But don't think of that as, oh, your actives aren't working anymore. Think of that as your skin is starting to adjust and manage those actives better.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the reality is you're not... Let's say you're using vitamin C, it's giving you great brightening properties. Your skin is never going to be snowy white, right? There is a balance. So yeah, your skin, in that sense, your skin absolutely does get used to them, but it will keep working, especially for the preventative type of ingredients. I will say hydroquinone is a big exception. That is not something you should use very, very long term in your skin routine.
True. Actually, I would feel more comfortable using hydroquinone with a good derm.
Yes.
Just because they can help kind of monitor your progress using the product. So yeah. All right, so that's the end. What's next, Gloria?
I don't know. What's next, Victoria?
If you have any questions per usual, you can email us, DM us. Hope this was helpful. And let us know how your hunt is going for that skin barrier moisturizer.
Yeah, and we this podcast is gonna be so consistent now. So if you have a topic in mind, also message us and let us know.
I feel like you're purposely trying to jinx this.
Am I? I'm trying to talk myself like, yeah, man, podcast every week, every other week.
This is good. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys soon.